Hello everyone and welcome back to Mathematics. So today's video will focus on everything you need to know on this chapter, progressions. So once we understand the differences already, let's dive into the thinking process to solve all kinds of progression questions, right? And you will ask yourself 2 to 3 questions. So the first question is, if you want to find the next number, does it involve multiplying or dividing? If no, means a AP or arithmetic progression. If yes, it is a geometric progression or GP. And the second question you need to ask yourself is, to find that certain value that the question requires, does it involve to find the sum or to find the total? If no, means we use Tn. If yes, we use Sn. Same question applies to GP as well. If does not involve sum, it will be Tn. If it is, we need to ask an extra question, which is the thing countable? If yes, we need to use Sn. If no, we use S infinity. So one of the uncountable quantities that I can think of is the total distance traveled by a pendulum until it stops, right? For example, at the beginning, right, this pendulum is here. Then it will swing to the other side, right? So the distance traveled for these two movements will be easy to calculate. But what if the pendulum is about to stop? Okay, so let's say now the pendulum is here. Then it swings to only a little bit, let's say here. Okay, we can still measure the distance, but then when it becomes closer and closer to stop, the distance will be much harder to calculate, right? So for this kind of uncountable quantities, we can use S infinity to help us find the total distance traveled. And the last thing to let you all know is the relationship between Tn and Sn, because quite common in SPM, they will ask questions which involve both Tn and Sn, right? So one of the questions is find the sum of the middle terms, right? Middle terms meaning in a sequence, I tell you to find the 5th to the 8th term. I don't tell you to find the first n terms. Okay, so the technique here is find the sum of all the terms and then minus out the first n terms, right? So let's go through one of the examples. So the question here is find the sum of the 3rd to the 5th term. Okay, so here we need to find all the terms first. So here it also says until the 5th term only. So let's list out all the 5 terms, and the ones in red are the ones that we want to find. Okay, which is T3, T4 and T5. So all terms here meaning I find the sum of all these 5 terms. And minus first n terms meaning I minus those terms that I don't want, which is the first 2 terms or S2. So to find the sum required, what I do is S5 all terms minus out the terms that I don't want, or the first n terms, which is S2. Okay, so my answer would be S5 minus S2. And the second case is also quite similar to the first one, right? But this one is given Sn equations only, we need to find Tn. So the technique is to use this formula, but let's understand this formula by going through an example, right? So here we are finding T4, so let's use the same technique as here. So since it is until T4, let's list the first 4 terms. Okay, and then using the same technique as well, let's find the sum of all the terms first. So this one is S4, and then let's find the sum of the terms that we don't want, which is the first 3 terms or S3. So to find T4 is S4 minus S3, right? So if you compare these two questions, right, it's actually the same method. So for the S4, it's actually all the terms. S3 is actually the first n terms. But the difference between these two questions, right, is for the second case, there will be a formula to help us find the value. So for example, if you want to find T4, very easily you'll be able to find what is the S that we want. This one is S4 and this one is S3. But for the first case, we need to find out by ourselves. Alright? So that's everything you need to know on progressions. So in the future, I will do some extra videos to go through some of the questions in this chapter, and if you have any questions regarding this, feel free to put your questions in the comment section below. Right, so thank you so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you all in the next videos. Bye bye.